That was random.
Nice little fade out right there. All right, the pay-per-view this weekend. I thought it was a fine show.
Thumbs up.
Underwhelmed. Brian sounds underwhelmed, somebody said.
I didn't hear.
Yeah,
I saw
because
that
our
comment.
website was down, and I was trying to deal with that as I did the show.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed with our website being down.
Well, I feel kind of stupid saying this here. Most people are going to listen to this Wednesday afternoon for a show that was on Sunday, so I'm sure you've all heard by now. But Money in the Bank was one of the great pay-per-views of all time. It was right up there with Mania X7, Calgary Stampede. There was a WCW, like a Great American Bash in '89 or something that people always talk about. And this was right up there with anything else you want to bring up as a great pay-per-view event. I counted, and to be fair, most reviews that I have seen were not as generous as mine, but I counted 4 separate 4-star matches in the show. I loved both title matches. I loved both ladder matches. This show was awesome. And in case you don't care about in case you care about more than just in-ring action, you need something important, something memorable, something historic. That main event is going to be something special for a long, 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 long time. This show had everything.
I just, until they screw it up. Is it wrong for me to just presume at some point this is going to be screwed up?
Not necessarily.
They have gone 4 weeks successfully.
Yeah.
That's good. But in the grand scheme of things, that's 1 month. Something's bound to go wrong.
If CM Punk had appeared the next night on Raw, it would have been screwed up.
Well, not if you. I still wish they'd done my idea, and they could have done it. They could have done it almost exactly the same way they did it on Raw, with them just pretending like it never happened. And my idea was to go along with them pretending that it never happened. You have to have CM Punk appear in the crowd, like he enters the building. But the moment he appears in the crowd, they have to cut as far away from CM Punk as humanly possible so that you never, ever see him on television. All you see is...
that's a hell of an idea.
No, it is. Because all you would see...
You never see him on television?
No. All you see... Because they're pretending he doesn't exist. They're pretending that he didn't actually win the title. So all you would see... After you knew and everybody knew, and all of the wrestlers were having to pretend like, this never happened, even though everybody knows it did happen. You would have that moment during the show, preferably in a match with not geeks, because they always have a guy make that appearance in a match with geeks. You got to do it in a top of the hour match, where in the middle of the match, all of a sudden, for some strange reason, they cut to a random shot in a weird area, and all you see is everybody in the entire fucking building getting to their feet, and they're all looking to one part in the building, and you can't see what's there, and they're going nuts, and all of a sudden they're just going crazy chanting CM Punk. I think that would be awesome. You've got to keep this in order to make. Here's my deal. In order to make this seem like not just any other wrestling angle, you need to make it different. When the guy has been kicked out and they're never going to mention his name again, and maybe if you did my deal, you pretend like it never even happened, whatever the case might be. When you're pretending like that guy's gone and you're never going to see or hear about him again, you got to keep reminding people that he's either going to be back or he's trying to get in or whatever. But you got to make it different. You don't just cut to a shot of the guy like they do whenever it's any other normal angle, okay? But if you do it right, everybody in the world knows he's there. The fans are telling you he's there. The fans are all going nuts because he's there, but they don't show it to you, which makes you want to see it even more. Yeah.
I am not sold.
You just got to do it that way.
I envision seeing this, and you're watching, for example, let's just say Rey Mysterio and Miz are in the ring having a match, and no one's paying attention to the match. They're all paying attention to something in the crowd, and you at home can't see what they're paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
That would not entice people. I think it would just enrage them.
Yeah,
or confuse them.
No, because everybody would chant his name. I guarantee it.
And then they would say, okay, show me Punk. What's happening?
Yeah.
Is there a guy dressed like Punk in the crowd?
And
Is there a CM Punk sign?
And you tune in next week to find out what's going on. I think it would work with this angle. I think it would work with this angle. You have to make it a little bit different. Like they really badly don't want you to see CM Punk, and you really badly want to see him, and then you build up to the day that you finally get to see him.
Well, they're doing that anyway by having us not be there.
It's just like old school. It's just like the old the Buddy Rose deal where he got his head shaved, And so you showed up the next week to see...
The CM Punk deal where he got his head shaved, for that matter.
Yeah, you showed up the next week to see the guy bald, and instead he's got a hairpiece on. And then you're begging for a heel to pull that thing off his head. And he keeps escaping, he keeps escaping, he keeps escaping. And every week you're waiting for that heel to finally do it. And then after such and such many weeks when you're just going nuts, they pull that thing off, there's his bald head, and everybody's like, ah, the best thing I ever saw. That's what you got to do. You got to build it up. Just give it all away. I'm talking old school booking here. Anyway, that's not what they did.
No.
But there's still time.
I thought what they did to do your thing, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still time to have him sneak in, but you do whatever you can to not show him. Although I don't know why he would sneak in.
I don't know how you can... He has to be seen on camera.
Yeah.
I mean...
Later. Not immediately.
Disagree.
But listen, the fans totally know what's going on here. You know?
Think about that. Wrestling fans, Brian.
Okay, did you...
wrestling fan turns on Raw, and there's a match going on in the ring, and the crowd is going crazy chanting for Punk. They're going to say, what's going on? Where is CM Punk in the crowd? What's happening?
Exactly.
And if they don't see CM Punk, they won't know what's happening. Nor will they want to turn in next week to not know what's happening a second time.
Vince, you are giving the fans absolutely no credit.
Correct.
Listen, they didn't have to show clips of ROH for Punk for them to understand what Punk meant when he said he was going to take it to ROH or New Japan, another wrestling company.
That was one line in a 10-minute promo. And most of the crowd didn't get it. Listen,
if you look back at like old storylines, this is like a new phenomenon where you presume the fans are so goddamn stupid. It's like a new phenomenon that Vince Russo has ushered in. Like you've got to tell these people what's going on because they're too goddamn stupid to figure it out. It's not the case. You know, there's been a lot of angles. There's been a lot of storylines that were fairly complex, and you had to do a lot of thinking. And I want to bring that back. I don't like this bullshit of, these people are so fucking stupid. We have to show CM Punk and put a graphic on the screen so people know who this guy is. I mean, this is the number one storyline in the entire company. And it's over now. It's too late. But, Vince came out. He wouldn't even mention the guy's name. He wouldn't even... He said you'd never see him again. You'd never hear of him again. This would have worked. This would have worked in this instance. That's all I'm saying.
The only way it would have worked is if the announcers had said, no, don't show him. It's that invader. It's the outsider. Get him off camera right now, that jerk. And have them cut a promo on him, too.
Fans.
He turned his back on them.
Fans are not this dumb. I firmly believe that.
Well, you have more faith in people than I do.
Just because someone wrote something that made you mad doesn't mean you need to think that the fans are dumb.
You think I just changed my mind because of that one guy?
Sure.
No, never mind that I've been hanging out with wrestling fans for most of my life.
Oh, Vinny.
Yeah.
Oh, Vinny.
Fans are dumb.
Jesus. An angry, bitter man today.
I can be. Actually, I was not until I saw that post. And that.
See?
It's not that he changed my mind on wrestling fans. I mean, I've thought fans were stupid, but I may not have mentioned it here on the show. But he made me angry. To be fair, I think most people are stupid.
Oh, well, that makes it better.
Yeah. So, yeah, Money in the Bank was good.
Great, let's play a song.
All right.
You have nothing more to say about the pay-per-view?
You took up all my time talking about your stupid idea.
What time? We don't have a time limit on this show. We could be here for 4 hours if we wanted to.
We don't. All right, let me open my notes again then. I don't know what else I can really cover. I mean, there were 4 awesome matches. Why did I open my Impact notes? What the hell is that shit? There were 4 awesome matches. There was a Big Show Mark Henry match that was not awesome. I will not lie. It was fine. There was a women's match that was in fact horrendous. And that's it.
Well, let's just play Moose Knuckle then.
I got money in the bank. Yeah. Shout out what you drink.
Raw
opened with the usual WWE graphic, and the last thing it says is, the last thing you hear is Cena saying, "The champ is here." No, he isn't. Vince came out in a jacket. I spent a long time looking for the right word to describe this jacket. I settled on fuchsia. It was not pink, it wasn't purple, it wasn't lavender, it wasn't carnation, it wasn't salmon. I think it was fuchsia.
Salmon?
It was not salmon. It's a shade of pink.
It was pink.
It was fuchsia.
It's just a big pink suit.
Well, he had gray pants. So he vowed to never mention that man's name again. The crowd was rapidly chanting CM Punk. He said...
How did the fans know who he was talking about? He didn't mention his name.
They were chanting it anyway.
I was just asking.
You're stuck on your idea. This is why I never fucking argue with you, because you won't let anything go. This goes back to...
This I gotta hear.
This goes back to my a moment I am not proud of, but we did the Mania review, and I had the flip out about the troops, and everyone thought, oh, Vince got so upset about... It's not... I wasn't upset... And I never... It's been like a year and a half, and I never talked about this.
Vaguely
I
remember
was
this.
not angry with you for disagreeing with me. I was angry with you because you wouldn't let it go. You wouldn't let me move on. You kept going back to the same fucking point. You're doing it here again, but I'm in a happier place in my life, and so I'm not going to scream and squeal like a lunatic. But let's just move on.
I don't remember saying anything.
Okay.
I'm
So-
perfectly calm, dude.
I'm trying to be, but it's not in my nature to be calm. It's really not, unless I'm alone. I'm very calm usually when I'm in solitude. So he called this man the biggest ring great in history, the man who turned his back on the fans and everyone in the back, everyone who had ever wrestled in the ring, called him an egotistical, selfish turd. That made me laugh. He said no man was bigger than WWE. They were a juggernaut that could not be stopped. He announced the 8-man tournament, and they put up the graphics and the brackets and the graphics for each match, and they've taken the photo of Alberto and photoshopped in the Money in the Bank briefcase with it. And if you look at how they've done this, it's not a very good Photoshop. And from the position his arm is in to where his hand is on the briefcase, it appears that the distance from his elbow to his wrist is a good 4.5 feet. It made me laugh. These are things I notice. So he promised a night of historic proportions. That was that. 5 minutes and done. Cole went on Cena's Twitter, said he had been future endeavored and apologized to The Rock. We had Miz versus Riley in a match where one man, the larger man for that matter, had a weakened opponent who came in with an injury. He targeted this injury and dominated him for 90% of the match, and he choked at the end and could not put this man away, and then was defeated cleanly by a man who fought back courageously. One of these men is supposed to be the babyface. and
He's clearly turning heel. Or babyface.
Miz is turning babyface, and Riley's apparently either fired or turning heel. This was amazing. This was how not to book any match, actually.
I'm almost certain that Miz's babyface turn started at the pay-per-view. When he courageously ran back to win, that was his babyface turn. Or the beginning of it.
Yeah. Miz here was, in fact, outmatched and outgunned and injured, and he fought through it all to overcome his younger... He may not be younger. Is he younger? His bigger, fresher, healthier opponent, and defeated him like a hero. And there was one point in here when they were... Vincent mentioned there would be severe consequences for Cena later, and they were debating what that would mean. Cole said, and I quote, "I find it hard to believe that the chairman of the company is going to fire his moneymaker." I found that funny for some reason. We had a cool John Morrison highlight video. Truth wrestled Swagger in a match.
Last week they pretty much admitted it was bullshit.
Yeah, they did. Truth versus Swagger in a match that had no hope. They did their best. There was a lockup in this that made me cry out in pain. Jack Swagger, I realized the collar and elbow tie was not actually done in amateur wrestling, but when your gimmick is that you are a great grappler and you can't do a decent lockup, that's no good. There's also a point here where Truth did a spit sell, and the referee had to stop watching the wrestling and follow the spit to see how far it went. That made me laugh. So there was not a lot of heat, except the crowd occasionally chanting Little Jimmy. Truth eventually turned the ankle lock into a roll-up for the win, and that was that. Alberto, well, he wrestled Kofi, but before that he got a promo, which is always great news. He said he tried to cash in his briefcase last night, but that something dog ran like a chicken. I did not understand the first word because it was in Spanish. And he said this was all because Cena could not do the job. He hoped Cena was fired because the WWE needed a new leader. It was his destiny to be WWE champion. Then his music played and out came Ricardo. I was so happy. Ricardo Rodriguez is back. He makes this act so much better. He just came out and said Alberto's name repeatedly. Alberto was so happy to hear his name pronounced correctly again. This was awesome. So Alberto wrestled Kofi. It's gotten to the point now where when Kofi goes to that jump in the corner and actually hits it, I'm surprised. And it was an okay match. And Alberto went for his armbar. They did a bunch of reversals, and Kofi won with a roll-up. Cole was saying the shoulder was up. Later, he said it was down. Whatever. It was fine. We had an interview with Kofi backstage. He vowed to become the new WWE champion. 1 down, 2 to go, he said. Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler. Rey was wearing the Kiss gear tonight. This is one of those...
Atlantis.
What's that?
Atlantis.
No, this was specifically like Kiss, the band. If you, the mask was inspired by Gene Simmons' makeup. They worked actually, this is a hell of a TV match, although it was not Rey's best match of the night. They worked their asses off at a very fast pace and didn't fuck up anything. And before too long, Rey hit the 619 and the splash for the win. This was fun. I was hoping, by the way, that Rey would wear different gear in each match, like Randy Savage did at that one WrestleMania, but it was not to be. We had the Mania travel package commercial.
It's because he didn't tell him till the day of that he was going to wrestle 3 times.
Well, that's a good reason. The commercial did not mention John Cena, nor did he appear. It just showed Rock about 7,000 times. A pointless women's match with, I believe, 14 or 16 girls out there. Only 2 of them were actually in the ring, and they still managed to fuck something up. Beth pinned Rosa.
Gee, I wonder why. Rosa was in the fucking ring.
Rosa was in the ring. Beth pinned her with a bitch clamp, to which Cole replied, "Thank goodness that lasted about 30 seconds. Also here, the announcers, and this is actually kind of funny, they were bitching about what Joey Styles said about them on Twitter. Made me laugh. So Beth stared down Kelly afterwards, so I guess they're now going to do Beth versus Kelly, which is, well, Kelly better not win.
Well, maybe that will play into the CM Punk storyline since he's dating Beth.
Could be.
She can take her title and leave.
Actually, that would be awesome. We had Kofi versus Miz. The crowd was not into much during the show, but they were into the near falls here at the end. And for the second time in as many matches, Miz fought back with a crippling leg injury and hit his finisher to win clean. Cole pointed out this was a courageous showing by Miz. He was correct. Miz was also bleeding from the mouth. Truth cut a promo backstage, said it was a conspiracy keeping him from getting the briefcase. Told little Jimmy to close his eyes and said what do you say, Ray was going to get got? Somebody was going to get got. I said little Jimmy's going to get got.
The
I don't think
title
that's
was
right.
going to get got.
The title's going to get got. That makes more sense. My notes were wrong. Tough Enough Andy visited the meth lab where he grew up. They were interrupted by a stranger at the door. Andy didn't know who it was, but told everyone to be careful when they left. And that was it. Ray and Truth had a very, very, very fun match. There was more sustained heat for this than anything else in the show. Dolph and Ray was technically better, although the pacing here was this was paced better, so that people were into it when Ray made his big comeback at the end. And he won with the 619 and the torpedo splash again, so thumbs up for Rey Mysterio. So at this point,
I thought that was by far the best match on the show.
It was the best match on the show for sure. I liked the Dolph match better than you did, but whatever. So it was set to be Ray versus Miz for the WWE title. Vince came out looking distressed. He said he was sorry, Ray. He would not deny you or Miz the opportunity to be WWE champion, but they're running out of time. Why didn't they just say, we're going to do the first round of semifinals this week and the finals will be next week?
Because the point is Vince is making a bunch of stupid decisions. He interrupted a world championship match just so he could fire John Cena. It's the act of a crazy man.
Well, I guess that makes some sense. Maybe I'm the stupid one. Well, that's always a possibility, by the way. I'm always willing to accept the possibility that I'm, in fact, the stupid one here.
I am, too.
Yeah. So I did notice here that last week, after Punk insisted under penalty under threat of leaving the company with the title, he insisted Vince apologize, and finally Vince said, "I apologize, you son of a bitch." Here, a week later, Vince, he postpones the finals until next week and just says, "I apologize." Just moved on. I guess the first time's always the hardest. So, yeah, the long ass last segment. Vince cut a promo. He called out Cena. Before he could say anything, Cena said he was not going to end up like Shawn. Shawn was the best wrestler ever, and all everyone wanted to talk about for years was how he screwed Brett. He wasn't going to let that happen to him. He was not going to be the guy who screwed Punk. So if you fire me, go ahead. I'll leave with my head held high. But I must tell you, the only thing I can really do is wrestle, so if you're not wrestling here, I'm going to wrestle for someone else. Brother. And at this point, about 4 guys chanted TNA, which is the name of a company that no longer exists. So, there you go, Impact. That's your big plug.
By the way, nobody ever... Well, I guess there were some people, but when people were talking about who screwed Brett, they were talking about Vince or Earl Hebner.
Oh, Sean heard it.
Well, Sean heard it a little bit, but it was mostly Vince and Earl Hebner. And not to mention the fact that the key that Cena was missing here was Vince was trying to fuck Punk without Cena's knowledge. Cena had Punk in a hold, and Vince was going to call for the bell. Sean was in on it. It was the entire key to fucking Montreal. He was in on it. He was in on this with Vince. So it was an entirely different situation. I'm overanalyzing this.
That's assuming you can trust John Cena. Perhaps he is lying. So, finally, after all
Perhaps
this...
not.
Vince could take no more. He was about to fire Cena, or well, actually what he said was, this will hurt me personally and professionally. And at this point, Triple H interrupted. Came out, he didn't have a mic. They were whispering to each other. Vince finally got on a mic. Hunter was not thrilled. Long story short, Hunter said that there had been a meeting. People were upset with the decisions Vince was making. He had been making extremely questionable decisions. The board had filed an injunction against Vince with a vote of no confidence, and the family agrees. And they have appointed someone to take over day-to-day operations of WWE. It's me, Hunter said. This made the crowd very happy. It also somehow inexplicably led to Cena chants. So Hunter said Cena wasn't fired, and then he announced that Vince was relieved of his duties. Vince McMahon, in the performance of a lifetime, was sobbing by this point. Tears were flowing down his face unabated. An amazing performance. Hunter was good as well. He took no joy in this announcement. He was doing his best to work some tears. He couldn't quite pull it off. The crowd was a bunch of dicks singing the goodbye song. Finally, Hunter said, "I love you, Pop, and I'm sorry," and he walked away.
The fans were being dicks.
Yes.
Vince has killed himself off for 5 straight years.
Well, that is also true. But here's
5 straight years.
Here's a man weeping in the ring, and they are singing a mocking song at him.
The man was killed.
He was blown up.
He was blown up. He had a stage
He was
fall
blown
on
to
him.
smithereens.
He was put in a coma. He sold the company. There's one more as well. And now you're sad because he's been relieved of his duties.
Sure.
By Triple H.
Yes. So they finally gave him a big ovation and chanted, "Thank you, Vince," and the show ended.
How did they know he was going to fire Cena?
Track record? Prior history?
He claimed it last week, but on this show he just said there would be harsh consequences.
That's true.
Maybe he was going to dock his pay. Still let him wrestle. Maybe he was going to award him... Maybe he was going to draft him to SmackDown, get him out of his hair. Hunter may have jumped the gun here. We'll never know.
You actually are 100% right on that one.
So there you go, everybody. That's Raw. And next week it's Miz versus Ray to find out who gets the title, if either of them do. So yeah,